on with Stork Music, and we have Alex from Go Radio. Do you want to tell them what you play in the band?
Yeah, my name's Alex and I play guitar for Go Radio.
Okay. Congratulations on the release of Lucky Street, the Deluxe edition. So what made you want to re-release it as a Deluxe instead of releasing an EP with the bonus tracks only?
We just had a lot of content that we wrote so many songs for Lucky Street, and it was to the point where I think at one point we had like 45 songs written for the record. And you know, when you're in the process, you start weeding out songs. And even when we weeded it down the first time, we still had like 25 songs that we wanted to make the record. And who makes a 25 song record? So you're just like, you know what? And then we finally cut it down, and that's why the record was long to start. And so when we were talking about, there was an idea where we were thinking about maybe releasing Goodnight Moon as a single or whatnot, and we were talking about re-releasing and trying to get some of those other tracks that nobody would have ever heard out there. You know, it just seemed kind of like a cool thing to do, you know, and Fearless got behind us, and it's like, why not let the kids have more music? And, you know, out here on the road, we're still selling it for the same price as the original, so it's pretty awesome.
What's your favorite of those tracks?
My favorite, well, we did 2 brand new ones, and we did those with James Paul Wisner down in Florida, and those songs were just from scratch. One was a brand new one that we wrote, and then one was our cover of Adele's Rolling in the Deep. And I really liked our version of the Adele song, which we're playing on this tour, but Worth It All the Whiles, the other new song, and I think those 2 songs, probably because they're the newest to me, are some of my favorites. But there's a song called Stay Gone on there that I just love that version, and I love that song, and so it's cool to get that out there. I know a lot of people that loved our band were wondering where that song went, and we wanted to make sure we got it out there a little bit, you know.
So what made you want to cover Adele out of like anyone you could have covered? You chose her.
Well, first off, there's a lot of garbage on the radio, so if you're trying to cover some sort of pop song, at least do one with like some sort of substance or somebody that has a lot of talent. That being said, Adele has this very soully, passionate voice, and of anybody that we would mimic in a top 40 radio situation, I think Jason's voice is perfect for a soully, meaningful, powerful voice. Like, we just thought that his voice would very well be able to mimic what she did, and that's kind of, I guess there wasn't too much more thought process.
You could have someone cover your band. Who would you want to do it, and what song would you want them to cover?
Oh my gosh, if somebody covered one of our songs?
Yeah.
What was the second question?
Like, who would it be?
Who would it be and what?
What song?
I would love to have Foo Fighters cover Redemption in the Verse.
That'd be a good one.
That would be really cool. I think Dave Grohl's voice on Redemption in the Verse would be sick.
You also just released the Goodnight Moon music video.
Yeah.
So where did the concept of that come from?
The concept was actually when we first recorded that song, even before Lucky Street, when we were doing it, we were in the studio and we finally finished it for Do-Overs, our first EP. Our manager had this like crazy idea. I'm not sure if I started the dream, but he had this like instantaneously this idea for a music video, this big, epic, massive budget music video where there's a battle scene and the whole. And that the idea of what you see in that video is pretty much exactly what his original thought process was. And we got the opportunity, and Fearless got behind us to release it as the next single. And you know, we didn't really know at the time whether we were ever going to release that song as a single, because we never did release it as a single. I think the fans kind of made it our single, and every day, every time we play it, every show on Warped Tour, every time we play the song, it was the most response we'd ever gotten of any song. So we were like, well, let's just make it. Let's make that video. Like, let's see what we can do. And we made it, and the whole idea, for those that are confused, and I know that some people have gotten it and some people haven't watched it enough to understand, but there's a line in the bridge that says, and there you were as I saw my Juliet come graceful down the stairs. And so the whole video is kind of playing off the idea of Romeo and Juliet, and how in the beginning there's 2 separate weddings and the 2 people. It starts with these 2 people being in love, and then it shows them at different weddings, and then lo and behold, they're marrying the wrong person. And that's kind of like the Juliet theme. So they run out, and the families of Romeo and Juliet start battling each other over the whole thing. But in the end, they find each other, and they're happy.
And they don't die.
And
it's really good.
And they don't die. That's the twist.
With tour winding down, there's 3 days left. including this one, I think. Yeah.
Well, we got 5 days. We booked a couple of shows that we're gonna
every episode.
Yeah.
Okay. What's been the weirdest or worst moment on tour so far?
Personally for me, I got strep throat in my home state of Michigan, and that was just miserable. It's so when you get sick on tour, it's like the most frustrating thing that'll ever happen to you. You feel like you can't do anything. You feel like you're never gonna get better. You have to get up in front of hundreds of people and pretend like you're not sick. And unfortunately for me, I do sing some in our sets, and I had no voice, and so it was just really embarrassing. My parents were there, and it was painful, and I had to go to the doctor the next day and get a bunch of antibiotics. And for a week, I was just all drugged up and prescribed drugs.
Who would be on your dream tour?
Who would be on my dream tour? Currently, I mean, of all times, but currently, if it was gonna make sense, this is one of my dream tours so far. Being on tour with Yellow Card, they kill it every night. They're a band that I have a lot of respect for, a band that I've listened to a lot of my life. But if I were to say something that would be like crazy to me, it would be like us, Bayside, Jimmy Eat World, and Foo Fighters.
Is there anything that bands do that like really weirds you out, or anything they do that you really like?
I mean, we don't have that weird of fans. I mean, I don't think it could ever be classified as weird, because I think people are just excited. And if I look back to when I met some of my favorite musicians and bands and stuff, I probably seemed a little bit like whoa, you're saying some weird stuff, but just, you know, we don't ever take it like that. And our fans bring us cool stuff. Like, our fans seem to know us really well, and they bring me like coffee cards, Starbucks gift cards. They bring us Subway cards. They know exactly what restaurants we like, so they bring us stuff like that, and they make us food, and any gestures like that, or like shirts, and just go crazy at the shows. That stuff's awesome. But yeah, sometimes people come up and they're like, they get really offended if you don't remember like that one time when they like said that joke to you outside of this 2 years ago, and you're just like, and it just puts you off guard, because you're like, I promise I don't want to make you feel bad, but
yeah. In
the last 2 years, we've played a lot of shows and met a lot of people, and you know, that's the only thing that kind of gets tough. Is everyone wants to be remembered, and it's hard to do that at a certain point. You know, when there's thousands of people every night.
Speaking of, do you remember that one time we did that one thing outside?
And then that one thing happened, and it was like, ah!
Yeah,
And we were just like, no,